when their day in court will come. A year of fighting to keep Damian's story in the news. And frankly, a year where two other men lost their lives to law enforcement on mental health crises. John Peña-Montes and Nicholas Norris. Rest in power. Today we are demanding that the case moves to a grand jury. We're demanding that the body camera footage be released to the public for transparency. And we are demanding that both the city and the county implement alternative non-police response teams for mental health crises and welfare checks to avoid further tragedy. San Antonio City Council has an opportunity to fund a pilot program for such a team through the use of ARPA funds. Community members, some of those standing behind me, have filled public comment, town halls, even the Public Safety Committee asking for this in the name of Damian, in the name of John Peña-Montes, in the name of Nicholas Norris, and the countless lives lost to police response on these crisis calls. The Washington Post has found that 1 in 4 people killed by police have a mental illness. Mental crisis, behavioral health issues, none of these are a crime. They're a reality and a very real part of our everyday lives, not just for our veterans, but for anyone suffering from grief, from the financial impacts of the pandemic, homelessness, substance abuse, and more. Alternative responder programs already exist across the country, such as the Denver Star program or the Cahoots model. They are proven to not only save lives, but save cities millions of dollars in public safety spending. There is literally nothing that the city or county can lose by implementing such a program, but there is so much to gain. Let us remember that Damian is not the only one that will be missing for so many military families this holiday season. Several city council members have spoken in support of a Denver Star-like model for San Antonio in the past. Today, we are asking that you follow your words with actions in the upcoming ARPA recommendations tomorrow. To our county commissioners, we ask that you follow suit to implement an alternative responder program to run alongside your co-responder team. To DA Joe Gonzalez, it is high time to move this case to grand jury, to release the body camera footage to the public. Do it for Damian, for his family, his loved ones, and this entire community standing behind them. Justice for Damian. Thank you. I will now pass this to Attorney Lee Merritt.
Thank you. And I don't want to disrupt the program. I see Prosecutor Gonzalez is here. I would love for you to join us if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Please, thank you so much. Good to see you, by the way.
It's good to see you, Lee.
And if you don't mind standing with Annette here watching.
Good afternoon. How's everybody
Brendan?
doing?
It's important that we have a prosecutor like Mr. Gonzalez who's willing to stand with the family, who's been willing to meet with the family from day one. But this community, the community of Bexar County, the community of San Antonio, needs change. In a lot of ways, Damian Daniels is fighting his last war. His family is a veteran family. Each one of his brothers served in the armed forces during times of combat in this country. They put their life on the line because they believed in certain principles of equality, of citizenship, and of rights that he has been denied in his death, but Damian Daniels continues to fight. Many veterans that I've met through representing this family call what is occurring in San Antonio and across the country, the crisis, a silent war, where veterans suffer mental health trauma serving this country and come back to be targeted by the deadliest police culture in the modern world. We must take affirmative steps to change the culture of policing in America so that we have a nonviolent response to mental health crisis. That's what this community has been standing for. We've seen this model taken on all over the country, and we've seen the positive results from it. My sister quoted some important statistics that I'm going to amplify today. People suffering mental health crisis are 16 times more likely to have deadly force used against them than the average citizen. Governor Greg Abbott in his State of the State declared that in Texas, there's a mental health emergency. But in doing so, he created absolutely no programs, provided no additional resources to our mental health communities to actually address the problem. What Damian Daniels' family is calling for, what the organizing community, ACT San Antonio, Amanda, and fighters all across this county are asking for, are practical solutions that can be implemented last year. This is not something that we have to wait on. The release of the video was paramount because the release of the video allows the community an opportunity to identify the officers and participate in the investigation. Obscuring the video and failing to release the video is denying the family justice, it's denying the community their right to transparency. We need an alternative program, and I will emphasize that I do not believe it should be a co-responder program. Less than 1% of co-responder programs actually require law enforcement involvement in the first place. We should be spending our resources and getting as many mental health professionals, paramedics, EMTs out to mental health calls as possible. That's why I've come here to stand with the family of Damian Daniels. We are looking for accountability specifically in his case. But because his family believes in service and believes in service to this country, and Damian Daniels loves San Antonio. He came here, he purchased a home here because he loves San Antonio. And in his death, he continues to fight to make this place safer for our veterans, and we will continue to stand and fight with them. Prosecutor Gonzalez, I'd love for you to join me if you have something to say. We'd love to hear from you.
I would. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Merritt, and welcome back to San Antonio. I agree with everything Mr. Merritt has said. I stand with him. I stand with the family. I absolutely believe that justice is merited in every one of these cases. I will tell you that I say this all the time. Few things have happened in our culture recently that have changed the way that we should do business. One is the insurrection that we saw earlier this year, and the horrible thing that happened in Minnesota to Mr. Floyd. George Floyd should have never, ever been in that situation. DA's offices across the country have to do better. We are doing better. One of the first things we did is to rethink how we review these officer-involved shootings. We created the Civil Rights Division headed by Mr. Harris, Darrell Harris, who's standing over there, a veteran prosecutor. We are doing different things differently in terms of how we we review these cases. And I'll tell you, one of the most compelling arguments I heard on in the community is the relationship that DA's offices have with law enforcement, the closeness. Because of that, I have committed to never asking for a penny from law enforcement, from any police unions. I've not asked, nor will I ask for endorsements from any police unions, because I want the families to know that we're going to make these decisions based on the facts of this case, not based on any loyalty or commitment to anyone else. And so we are taking a close look at these cases, and Damian Daniels is one of them. Another thing that we've done differently is we have a team that goes out when we're notified by law enforcement of a situation where there's an officer-involved shooting. Darrell and his investigators go out to the scene and meet with the families as soon as possible so we can establish a relationship with the families sooner, not later. We are doing other things. What I've said along is we will present every case, including this case, to a grand jury. We want the citizens of Bexar County to make the decision. Before I got into office, and keep in mind I've been doing this, well, I've been the elected DA for 3 years. I spent 30 years before that in the criminal practice, and 21 of those years as a defense lawyer. So I certainly saw my share of what Mr. Merritt is talking about on the other side. I am committed to doing the right thing, and this is part of it. I'm here to tell you that, and another thing that I want you all to know, if the family hasn't already told you, we have been in constant communication with the family. As late as last month, Mr. Harris reached out to the family and told them that we intended to take this case to the grand jury by the end of the year. We've had this case about 6 months now, and we're right on schedule. We intend to take this case to the grand jury by the end of the month. We will let the citizens of Bexar County make the decision, and hopefully they're going to do whatever they believe is the right thing to do. That's the way it works. Folks, I know that we've talked about the releasing the body cam footage, but I have a responsibility to the citizens of Bexar County. I have a responsibility to do my job. The worst thing that can happen is that we can compromise a case, or worse, jeopardize a case because we taint a jury pool. If we end up where we're going to trial and every one of the potential jurors say, I can't be fair with this case because I've seen that video, we're going to have problems. And so that's the concern that we have. So we have to balance that with the needs of the family. We have met with the family, and so the family knows the particulars of this case. The need of the public is great, and we understand that. But again, as the elected DA, I have to make decisions to balance the needs of the families and the needs of the public with prosecuting these kinds of cases. But I am here to say that I stand with the family, that we're going to do everything we can to do the right thing, and we'll let the grand jury of Bexar County decide if there's enough evidence to move forward. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Brendan, Ananda, and Manette to come join me for a moment, if you don't mind. And I just wanted this community here. This is Annette Watkins, Brendan Daniels' mom. I'm sorry. Well, it is Brendan Daniels' mom. And Damian Daniels' mom as well. This is Brendan Daniels, his older brother. And we want to open you all ourselves up for questions and comments if there are any comments from media.
How do you feel about Bexar County commissioners today saying that all video from critical law enforcement encounters should be released in 10 days? During today's commissioner meeting.
Yeah. First, I want to thank Prosecutor Gonzalez again for establishing regular communications with the family. Oftentimes, we disagree about things, about strategy, including the release of that video. But we understand his perspective. He's been willing to offer it and to enter a discussion about it. We tend to agree with the decision of the council or the commission today that there's no real reason not to release that video within 10 days. And considering it's been well over a year, that video should be released immediately to the public.
County Judge Wolf brought this up personally during the commissioner's hearing today, asking the sheriff why it has not been released. What are your thoughts about the county's top elected official demanding its release?
I think the judge, again, has expressed sentiments consistent with transparency and accountability, consistent with best practices across the country. I don't think there is any substantive reason for failing to release the video. Now, for what it's worth, because we're having this conversation, I just returned from South Georgia I sat through the process of picking a jury for the trial of the men who murdered Ahmaud Arbery. And every juror in that case had seen the video that went viral in that case, and they developed an opinion about it. And that made it very difficult to pick a jury in Glenn County. So I understand the rationale behind it, but in terms of balancing the benefit versus the consequences, that case wasn't moved out of Glenn County. You know, the murder of JFK wasn't moved out of Dallas County. Moving cases out of a county means more than just seeing a video, and the benefit to the family of having the true narrative after the Bexar County Sheriff's Office released a false narrative in this case. And that's why it's so important to release the video. They released manipulative still images and put out a false narrative about Damian Daniels and what he did on the day that he was killed. The video needs to be released so that the public, because right now the potential jury pool is being tainted by a story that is demonstratively false.
Have you or the family had a chance to review the entire video, uncut, unedited?
I have.
You have? And the family has as well?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when was that?
Some time ago.
And for the family, what has this past year been like for y'all as you wait for this grand jury process to move forward?
All right, I'm going to allow them to ask the question what the year's been like. I made a mistake in stepping in on Amanda's presser. There's a couple of people that we need to introduce that I've had the chance to meet today, and I'll allow her to introduce.
I also want to introduce Simone and Robin, who are close family friends. I mean, they are family to the Daniels family. Simone's kids are actually Damian's godchildren. And so they have come here to not only share their story of grief this past year, the struggle for justice, but to support Annette and Brendan as well. So I will hand this over to y'all because I believe the question was for y'all.